Oh, hi there. I'm making a video because I wanted to describe something that is, something I briefly touched on other videos. Global warming is a thing, and I did say that, look, the Mexicans, they can't come up north. They can't do that because we can't have a migration of 100 million plus Mexicans coming to the north. So how are we going to keep them out? We're going to build a wall? Too expensive. Waste of time, frivolous waste of resources. So what could we do to keep them out? We could create a social barrier where they don't come across, but how are we going to convince the Mexicans that they don't need to cross into the United States? How are we going to do that? I got an idea. Um, they are, in fact, they've already invented it, clothing that actually cools you down as you wear it. And we're going to need it because, the Earth's temperature is rising in some places, getting colder in others. It's more going to be warm than cold, but in some places of the world it's going to be very cold, and some places it's going to be warm. That's where it's going to be. It isn't going to change that much, but, it's little things like, do you want to be outside in 30-degree weather or 35? And if you like 35 degrees, do you want to be out there in 35 degrees or 40 degrees? And you can play this game for as long as you want, because in India, for example, it's 50 degrees outside. Can get up to. Does get up to, quite often. Okay, if you want to be a roasted peanut out there, that's your call. I'm genetically inclined to liking and preferring cold weather. I like rain, because it's good for growing vegetables and things like that, which is what we need to eat to survive. Anyway, so yeah, getting back to what I was saying. How are we going to convince the Mexicans to stay out? We have to offer them something. What can we offer them? I know. Why don't we make clothing that cools you down, which is going to happen anyway. There's this great debate on whom should be the people who should, have this technology first of all and be able to mass produce it. Because, clothing that cools you down, it sounds cool. Some people go, oh, that's, like Star Trek right there, man. It's not that far-fetched. It can be done. How to make it cost-effective and all that, those are other questions to be answered. However, why don't we let the Mexicans have clothing that cools you down? However, there must be a catch. And that is, the Mexicans have never traditionally been very big about hockey. They don't care for hockey, most of them. They have their reasons, this, that, and the other. But if it's the only clothing around that keeps you cool, as opposed to, them going, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to run a fan all day long? Am I going to, glob about a pound worth of suntan lotion all over myself? Am I going to, drink the water that they don't have? They're basically borrowing from us to grow berries and things like that. Or are they going to put on the symbolic symbol of a National Hockey League jersey, which looks badass anyway? And, the whole culture of what they think of the National Hockey League could change. And then, in light of that, perhaps there could be some players of Mexican origin who make their way into the NHL. I mean, because I understand nepotism and how if you don't see something that looks similar to you, you're less interested. I mean, that's not really fair, but it is a thing, because, as a young person, you look up to people that look a bit more like you than you do to someone that looks completely different from you. Unless you're programmed differently, then you're probably a homo. Yeah. Perhaps the Mexicans should get a deal on these clothings that cool them down, and then it'll be just a tinsy-wincy little insult that it happens to be National Hockey League equipment. If it cools them down, I don't see what the big bother is about that. And, we could help make Mexico a market for National Hockey League instead of baseball. Because, they're way bigger into baseball down there because there's a lot of Cuban players, there's a lot of this and that. They're bigger into baseball. and football and things like that, although they're not particularly good at it because of nepotism, because they like Brazil. They want Brazil to do well, even though they don't entirely, really like Brazil. I mean, the stupid Mexicans like Brazil, but, there's a difference between a Brazilian and a Mexican. There's no denying that, but that's all nepotism. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, why don't we create a market for the National Hockey League in Mexico, where their communities have access, the communities we like, not the ones we don't like, obviously, because not every community in Mexico is, peaches and cream, in case you didn't know. I mean, I wouldn't know because I would never go there. About as south as I'll go is maybe San Diego. That's about it. I'm not going to Mexico because I'm a Trump supporter. I'm a deal maker, I make deals, and I think it'd be a great deal if the Mexicans found a reason to like the National Hockey League. Keeps you cool. It's a nice arena. Maybe they can build their own league where they have big, buildings that keep everything cool. I know people go, well, that's a waste of energy and things like that. No, it's not. It can be done efficiently. And wearing cool clothing with a blazing sun beating down on you is going to help cool you down. I mean, over there, a lot of them, they can take the heat, but obviously if it got warmer and warmer and warmer, that would be problematic for anybody. That would drive them insane, and you couldn't really blame them for that, but you could blame them for taking their insanity and wanted to come up north and, share their insanity with us. You could blame them for that, though. So that's what my suggestion is that the Mexicans, they get cut a deal on clothing that helps cool them down. And as I said, this invention has already been long since thought of, and somebody's already invented it. It's all about making it cost-effective. It's about branding, labeling, who gets it, who doesn't, and what better sport to endorse it than one that specializes in staying cool in an arena in cold places. What better one? So anyway, leave your comments down below and make America great again. So talk to you creeps later. Have a good one.